I'd like to introduce the wonderful Rannveig, who's back with us. And I know it was a very popular session last time she was here talking about Iceland. And this evening we will be exploring all things to do with Namibia. You'll absolutely be inspired and totally tempted by the end of this evening. So over to you, Rannveig.
Thank you, Melissa. So for those of you who saw me with Iceland, you might be confused why I'm standing here and going to be telling you about Namibia as well, which is obviously a very different country. I'm located in Iceland myself. It's actually just quite simple. I'm Icelandic, so I have tremendous passion over here in Iceland, but I grew up in Namibia. So I always say that I left my heart in Namibia. So we have an office there as well. So that's as simple as that. So I want to tell you all about my beautiful other home country, Namibia. So let me just share my screen with you all so I can take you to a much warmer place. I'm heading down there myself, can't wait in 2 weeks' time to take a look at, go and visit my friends down there. So welcome to Namibia. Can you see the picture? Just want to make sure everyone can see Namibia there. I start with this photo for the simple reason that this is one of my favorite photos in the entire world. I went traveling there with my own family, and that's my family that you see there in front of me in the picture. And I just remember that moment. I was walking behind them, and I felt like it was such a surreal setting. This is the dead flay in Namibia. So I decided to pick up my very old iPhone and snap off this picture. And I don't know how to work Photoshop or anything like this, so there's no filters, nothing. That's exactly what I saw. And I just felt like my family had been thrown into the middle of a painting. It was just absolutely breathtaking. So just to start with that, I will of course tell you more about that place soon. Let's start with the quick facts about Namibia, because I feel that not many people know that much about Namibia typically. So it is quite an interesting country for sure. It is a huge country. It is 825,000 square kilometers, and it has a population of only 2.5 million people. This makes Namibia the second least densely populated country in the whole world. So Namibia, not so many people, lots of space and land. Namibia has the largest cheetah population in the world, highest sand dunes you can find in the world, and Namibia is home to the incredible desert-adapted elephant. I will, of course, tell you more about this elephant a bit later. We have 13 different ethnic groups in Namibia, which is very interesting. So you can experience a lot of wonderful Namibian culture when exploring Namibia with us. This is, I think, my favorite fact about Namibia, and that is that it's the first country in the whole world to implement conservation into its constitution. I personally find that absolutely amazing that a third world country will put conservation into its constitution. And this will just demonstrate how important conservation is to Namibians. And when you travel there, you will really see and feel this for yourself. Namibia is virtually malaria-free. There is, the northern part of the country is considered a minor risk area in the northern parts. So, of course, when traveling to places like African countries, you consult with your GP. There is a free tourist visa for most European countries coming into Namibia, and that counts for UK citizens at the moment. So you simply just get a stamp when you arrive, a free of charge visa. Namibia is the safest country in all of Africa, which for me is a very important factor, because this also makes Namibia so family friendly, and you can really, when traveling there, you can just simply feel how safe it is over there. Sorry. Just a little bit about the time to travel to Namibia. Namibia is definitely a year-round destination. So to be honest, just whatever month or period suits you to come traveling to Namibia, it's a fantastic place, whether you come in the winter or summertime. The dry season in Namibia is their winter season, which is roughly between May and October. So this is when there's no rainfall, basically, in the desert climate. And the animals are, because it's dry season, the animals are more reliant on the water holes. This doesn't mean that you won't see animals in what they call the wet season. It's just that there will be more crowds of animals basically at the waterholes because they're so reliant on getting that water. November to April is their summer months. And we don't even actually call it wet season. We rather call it green season because Namibia is a desert climate. So as you can see from the rainfall there, if we're lucky in Namibia, we will get a couple of rain showers during the day. But the thing is that it's a very dry climate. So even in the summer months there, it's very dry heat, not humid. So it makes the heat very bearable, actually. So my favorite time, sorry, someone just came into the waiting room. So my favorite time to travel to Namibia is actually the low season, which is roughly November to April. That's our favorite season to go. Not so many tourism. So, you never feel crowded. In many places, you'll feel alone in the world. And this is our favorite season actually to travel. So enough about the facts. Let me now take you straight down to beautiful Namibia. Tonight, I'm going to take you on this circle route basically here, because this, in our opinion, is the absolute highlight of the country. And I'll take you through them step by step. Let's start with the very famous Sossusvlei. So as you can see from the map here in the middle, Windhoek is the capital city, located right here in the middle of the country. This is the capital city. And to be honest, I'm not even going to talk about Windhoek with you because it is simply an industrial capital. Typically, we don't recommend that people spend any real time in Windhoek. Rather, leave this industrial capital and go out and explore the incredible sites and places that Namibia has to offer. So let's start with Sossusvlei down here. This is in the Namib Desert, which is the oldest desert in the world. Sossusvlei is home to the world's highest sand dunes. They are absolutely incredible. They're so rich of iron as well, meaning that the sand is very reddish in color. So the entire scenery is just incredibly beautiful. You see the top picture here, the top left. This is what I mean with wet season, which we call green season. So if you go during the low season, which is the green season, you can be lucky enough to witness some green bushes, in the middle of the desert, which is quite a fascinating experience. I put a picture here of the oryx. So for wildlife and safari in Namibia, you need to focus on the northern parts of the country. The southern parts of the country are more for landscape and scenery. There's not that much wildlife there, except for the oryx, for example. The oryx is Namibia's national animal. So it is for very good reason. There are countless oryx throughout Namibia, and they live everywhere because they're such sturdy antelopes. They can go days and days and days without water. So you will encounter some oryx just roaming around in the sand dunes. Here is the Bedflay. This is very iconic to Namibia and very unique in the world. It is a place that is almost impossible to describe in pictures or words because it is just such a unique experience. I've been there roughly 1 million times and I just cannot get enough of these dead trees. So in the heart of Sossusvlei, surrounded by the world's highest sand dunes, there's this huge white clay pan. In this clay pan, as you can see from the pictures here, there are these dead trees dotted around. Interestingly enough, these trees are not petrified. They are, in fact, just sunburnt. They've been standing in the clay for 600 of them. They've been completely dead. So what happened was simply they got sunburnt, died, and they're just standing there, nice and sturdy. It is an absolutely unique sight and something I would say if you come to Namibia, you're simply not allowed to miss this experience. When you go to Sossusvlei and Bedflay with us, you also have, it's optional, it's up to you, but you have the option of climbing some of these sand dunes. It is very rewarding. It's quite tough. You are climbing sand, so it's one step forward and you leak about half a step back. For example, in Sossusvlei, you can climb the world's highest sand dune, which is Big Daddy. And Big Daddy is 350 meters high. That's a lot of sand. But if you climb Big Daddy, which takes about an hour, 15 minutes or so, this is your reward. You can see in the bottom picture here, this is the scenery that you would get when climbing the sand dune. And the funnest thing you can do in Namibia, run down those sand dunes. I'm telling you, the oldest person who came with me climbing the sand dune was 87 years old. And even he changed to a giggling teenager while we were running down the sand dune. It is just so much fun. And if you climb Big Daddy, you can run down the sand dune and you're immediately in the heart of Deadflay, the dead trees here. So it is such a unique experience. What you can also do in the area is you can explore Seabourn Canyon. You can see here this beautiful canyon over here, which is very scenic, and it is such a great experience where we take you down into the canyon itself, and you can roam around there. It's also nice because you get a bit of shelter once you go into the canyon, so it's not quite as hot. And another thing you can also do down south by Sossusvlei is go hot air ballooning. So in the Sossusvlei area, we offer hot air balloon rides where we go out around sunrise so that you can witness when the sun rises over the dunes and see how the dunes change in color. Once we've enjoyed the hot air balloon ride, once we land, there is ready a champagne breakfast for you in the middle of the Namib deserts. So hot air ballooning there is something I highly recommend to add on to your experience. Now, I wouldn't typically be talking that much about accommodation. Like if, for example, in Iceland, sometimes a hotel bed is just a hotel bed. But in Namibia, the lodges there are so unique. And usually the lodges during your stay are such a big part of your experience because the lodges offer tremendous experiences. I just want to show you a couple of our favorites and why they are our favorites. This one is Le Mirage, which is a 5-star resort and spa. You can see here the rooms are huge and everyone has their own private balcony where you can sit out on the balcony in the mornings or evenings with your coffee and enjoy sunrise or sunset. Gorgeous swimming pool. There is a spa area so you can go for a massage or treatments. And as you can see in the picture here, it is located absolutely in the middle of nowhere over there in Sossusvlei. It's just this one building, it looks like a palace. I thought it wouldn't make sense, but once I went there, it just all made sense, how it fits perfectly into the surroundings. And it's quite possibly one of my favorite spots to enjoy a sundowner. After an adventurous day, you sit down here outside and enjoy the sun going down with a nice drink in hand. Kulala is a lodge that's very unique because they kind of managed to go behind all of the high sand dunes. So you can see from the pictures here, the location of it is absolutely gorgeous. Right in front of the lodge, you have all those sand dunes right in front of you. Kulala has, of course, here a refreshing, wonderful pool where you can jump in at noon when the hottest hour of the day is. We enjoy meals outdoors. And here's the unique part. So each unit looks like this in the top picture here. And your room is the entire unit. Inside here, you see this is kind of tented walls with a thatched roof. So this wonderful African feel to it. And inside here, you have a very comfortable bed, a warm shower, everything you need. But my favorite part is you can walk this little trail over here, walk up the stairs, and you can opt for a sky bed if you want to. You can also sleep inside your unit, that's absolutely fine. But when you check in, you can ask the reception, can I please have a sky bed tonight? And they will make up a bed for you on the rooftop over here. This is in the south, in Sossusvlei. So the stargazing there is absolutely unreal. Last time I slept up on that roof, I couldn't sleep all night because I had the Milky Way right above my head. It was just absolutely breathtaking. And to sleep outside in African nature like that, it's just very unique. Desert Homestead is another lodge that we really, really love. You can see in the bottom picture here, this kind of setup is quite common for lodges in Namibia, where you have one main massive building, which is the main area with the reception, the swimming pool, where you enjoy meals and so on. And then you can see the units are dotted around here. And each unit is your room. You can see here a picture from inside one of the units, and this offers just a tremendous privacy. And I really enjoy the lodges in Namibia, how they are set up this way. Now we're going to the coast. So leaving Sossusvlei, we're driving northbound towards the coast. This is a town called Swakopmund. This is definitely where my heart belongs. This is where I grew up. And it's a very fascinating small town with tremendous German influence. So Namibia is a German colony. So in Swakopmund in particular, you will really see and feel the whole German influence in the architecture, in the food, and so on. The location of this town is also very unique because you have the Atlantic Ocean on one side and the sand dunes of the Namib Desert on the other side. So the town is nestled beautifully between the desert and the ocean. Here, this is Swakopmund. Strolling around town in itself is fantastic, but this is what we call adventurer's paradise to stay in Swakopmund, because here we say that Swakopmund is our playground. Here we go out playing. So we have lots of different options of what you can explore with us here. Here you can see me and my sister just goofing around in the sand dunes. That's what we do. My son over here enjoying sand boarding down the sand dunes. We offer camel rides in the dunes and also quad biking. Here you can see the fantastic lighthouse of Swakopmund. This is kind of a landmark to Swakop. And down by the beach, we have a gorgeous, typical African market where you can go and shop for some souvenirs. You have to negotiate, trust me on that one. Wonderful, authentic African market. The picture up here is from a place which I say that you have to experience when you come to Swakopmund because it is so unique in the world. This is Sandwich Harbor. We pick you up in a 4x4 vehicle at your hotel. We take you to the sand dunes of the Namib Desert and we drive up and down the sand dunes, taking you to a very specific viewpoint called Sandwich Harbor. What's special about it is that this is where you can see with your own eyes the sand dunes touching the ocean. So it's the only place in the world where actual sand dunes crash into the ocean. Very unique. We also have marine cruises from Swakopmund. So we go out sailing in search of the various marine life. We are trying to find whales, which is not as common. Typically, we will see a lot of dolphins. The seals have become so friendly with the boats that they actually jump onto the boat, the seals, which is great fun. And the pelicans, they're also very comfortable with the boats, so they come flying right onto the boat as well. So this marine cruise is a really great experience. And here in the middle picture, my personal favorite, as you can see, that's actually me. That was my 13th jump. So you can skydive in Swakopmund over the oldest desert in the world. So if you ever want to, if skydiving is on your bucket list, do it there. I'm not going to talk that much about accommodation actually in Swakopmund because Swakopmund is a town. So here we have a huge variety of accommodation options, anything from apartments for families up to 2, 3, 4, 5-star hotels. These are just two of our favorites. The Hansa Hotel is this one in the top picture here and the middle. Hansa Hotel is a 4-star, which is the oldest hotel in all of Namibia. So here you will really feel a lot of German influence in the architecture and food. Swakopmund Hotel in the bottom picture here and in the top right. This is Swakopmund's 5-star property. So these are two of our favorite hotels in town. Now moving on, we're leaving Swakopmund and we're driving northbound. You might have heard about a famous place called the Skeleton Coast. The Skeleton Coast of Namibia stretches actually from border to border. So all the way from the Angolan border all the way south along the coastline to the South African border is the skeleton coast of Namibia. The skeleton coast is known as the skeleton coast because how rough it is. So there you will find shipwrecks, human and animal bones, because in the old times it is a very, very rough area. When leaving Swakopmund and heading here northbound along the skeleton coast, there is even one shipwreck that you can see located right there by the beach. Inland to the incredible Damara land. Damara land is just a place unlike anything else on earth. The scenery is just absolutely out of this world, and it is very different to what you have been experiencing until now. Here you will find a lot of these rocky mountains, and here you may also expect to experience some wonderful traditional Namibian culture. I will just tell you very quickly about two tribes here, some of our most famous ones. The one in the top picture here is the Himba tribe. And I would say the Himba tribe is very iconic to Namibia. They are Namibian only, this Himba tribe. They actually are from the north, all the way north by the Angolan border, but they've kind of migrated down south with these stands here, souvenir stands, because of tourism. So now you can actually visit them and encounter them dotted along the way, usually in Damaraland. The Himba tribe, they are best known for their use of clay. So if you look closely at the picture, you can see their use of clay is fascinating. They both use it to cover their skin, to protect them from the sun. And they also use clay as a fashion statement for their hair. So you can see here, once you're a teenager, you choose your hairstyle with the clay, and that will be your hairstyle for the rest of your life. You just top it up with more clay. You can see this lady here, that's her own hair here in the bottom. So that's her fashion, with clay all the way, and then she just tops it up by the roots as her hair grows. They also use jewelry a lot, so they decorate themselves a lot. The interesting thing also about the Himba is that they haven't modernized. So they haven't adapted to modern way of living. They still dress just like that and still live in their traditional ways, which is very interesting. Then we have the Damara tribe. And as the name says, they are from Damaraland. So this is their home turf that you're in. In Damaraland, we have a place called the Living Museum, the Damara Living Museum. So the Damaras, they have actually modernized. So they have adapted to more modern ways of living. So now they live in huts or houses and dress differently and so on. But we want to keep, or they want to keep, their traditions alive. So they created this fascinating living museum where they greet you in their traditional clothing, tell you with such great passion all about their culture. They show you their ways of living, how they use herbs for medicine and food, and they may show you how they make a fire, and then they sing and dance for you in their local language, which is one of the traditional Namibian clicking languages. So it has the clicking sound when they talk. It's beautiful to listen to them talk and sing. Damaraland is also home to two amazing experiences. One of them is the rock engraving site. So the rock engravings here are from the San Bushman tribe. The San Bushmen are not only native to Namibia, they are nomads. So they have always been moving in southern Africa, between Angola, Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, South Africa. But here in Damaraland, they left a tremendous rock engraving site. The guide taking you along this site here will then show you and tell you all about their history and how they were giving each other signals with the carvings that they did into the rocks. Damaraland is also home to the incredible desert-adapted elephant. You might ask yourself, how is that elephant any different than the African one? Well, I'll tell you. So the desert elephant is the African elephant. It has just adapted to the very rough desert conditions. So throughout the years, they have adapted in the way that they're smaller, so they don't need quite as much water. Their trunks are stronger, and longer, so they can actually dig very deep down into earth in search of underground water. Their feet are also flatter, so that they can very comfortably walk on the sand dunes. In fact, the desert elephant has been witnessed a few times sliding down sand dunes. So the desert adapted elephant can only be found in 2 places in the whole world, and that's right here in Damaraland and also in Mali in Africa. So when you stay in Damaraland, we go out driving in search of this fantastic desert elephant. An interesting fact, they can walk up to 80 kilometers per day in search of water. So very, very sturdy animal. I'm just going to show you 2 of our favorite lodges in this area. This one in particular, this is called Tweefelfontein. And do you remember when I told you that the conservation is in the constitution of Namibia? That is not only in regards to the animals in Namibia, it is also in regards to nature and scenery in Namibia. So basically, they're very strict on this. You're not allowed to just buy land and build a lodge however you want it to be in Namibia. You have to go through a huge process and make sure that the lodge fits perfectly in the nature and surroundings. And Tweefelfontein is a very good example of this, where you can see how the lodge fits beautifully in its surroundings and is built in the nearby rocks. So this is the main reception area, and this would be your unit, your room. Of course, a very refreshing pool. That's at all of our lodges. Very nice and relaxing to enjoy there in between adventures. You can see these rocks here, which are right outside the main lodge entrance. Inside there are actually some rock engravings from the San Bushmen. And due to all of this, Tweefelfontein is a lodge that is actually on the UNESCO World Heritage Site. So you can stay at a lodge which is on the World Heritage Site, which is a World Heritage Site, which is very, very interesting. Doronavas is another great example of the quality of lodges they have in Namibia. You can see here, I mean, look at the nature, look at the surroundings of Namibia. This is very different to the desert feel that you've just come from the south. Very typical, as I told you, like one main building, and then you can see these units dotted around. They're actually quite far between each other, so there is tremendous privacy and space for you here. Your unit is huge, as you can see on the picture. I mean, I swear it's larger than my apartment. What's unique about Doronavas in Damaraland is that you can open up here sliding doors onto your private terrace here and pull out your bed if you want to. You can drag it right out and sleep under the stars, right there in your bed. Now we're getting closer to the safari experience in Namibia. In Damaraland, you're obviously experiencing a certain type of safari where you're exploring the desert-adapted elephant. But arriving here in Etosha National Park, this is, without a doubt, Namibia's most famous wildlife area. Etosha National Park is Africa's 3rd largest national park, actually. It is so huge. You can see, if you follow me now, and you can see on the picture, this here is Etosha National Park, where I put the dot. The size of the national park is the same size as Holland, just the national park. So you can maybe just imagine how large the park is, and then also how large Namibia is actually as a country. Here you are getting your very traditional, typical African safari with all of the wildlife glory. Here you can self-drive through the park yourself, or you can go on guided drives in our open truck safaris with the guides from the lodges. We have all types of African animals. But the big 5, we have them in Namibia, but in the national park, we're missing the buffalo, though. The buffalo only lives on the Caprivi Strip up here in Namibia. So Etosha National Park has the other 4 of the big 5, and of course, a whole lot of other wildlife like zebras and giraffe and so on. Such a variety of antelopes. Namibia is also home to both the white rhino and the black rhino. And yeah, as you can see from the size of it, what we always do with our customers and what we recommend to do is to actually overnight by the southern gate and also by the eastern gate, because there are different types of animals living on the southern side or the eastern side. So I just want to demonstrate the lodges, because an interesting thing about Etosha National Park is that the lodges that are located inside the gate, so inside the park itself, they are all government run and owned. So I'm afraid the service level is not really up there, except just one lodge that I can approve of on the very strict service standards that we have. What we typically do is actually stay at the lodges which are just outside of the gate. That will then offer you tremendous comfort, as you can see from the pictures here, lodges which we approve of, and we can take you into Etosha National Park anytime. What we also have in Namibia, actually dotted quite around the whole northern part of Namibia, is private game reserves. The only difference between a national park and a private game reserve is that it's government owned and run or privately owned and run. So the private game reserves, they have their own land and area with animals, and the lodges that they have on this land is just superior service and quality levels, as you can simply see from these pictures here. So Ongava is one of our favorites. And the best thing about Ongava is that it is located, the game reserve is located right outside of Etosha gates. So if staying here, you can actually get the best of both worlds. You can both explore the Ongava private game reserve, but you can also go into Etosha National Park and explore there. So that's an option. And on the east side, we have Onguma as an example, which is a private game reserve. And typically what they have is a variety of lodges within their area, catering to the different budgets and different expectations and so on. For example, here you can see the 5-star fort. Then we have the bush camp, which is more family friendly. And then we have also Onguma tented camp, which is for a bit more adventurous. So kind of catering to all different levels of budgets and expectations. Now, the last area I'm going to take you through is between the national park and Windhoek, because soon we're heading back out of the country. This is a place called Okonjima. Okonjima is a private nature reserve where they have their own huge part of land. Here they have a lot of variety of animals, not elephant though, not lions, but a whole lot of antelopes, giraffe, they actually have rhino, but this is focusing on the cats, the cheetah and the leopard. Okonjima is the nature reserve which has a lodge, as you can see in the picture up here. So you can stay in Okonjima, but explore the Africat Foundation. The Africat Foundation is so close to my heart because the way that they work with conservation there is absolutely mind-blowing. They are so focused on the cats and rescuing the cats that they don't only take in orphaned or injured cats to nurture them and rehabilitate them back out into nature, but they also work in different ways. For example, educating the local farmers in this human-wildlife conflict that we constantly have in Namibia. That's something that we are always striving to be better at, because we want animals and humans to be able to live together in harmony in this beautiful country. So, you know, when a group of cats come to a farm and hunt all of the farmer's goats, as an example. Now, this farmer has lost everything that he has, so he will shoot the cats as soon as he sees them again. We are educating these farmers in why it is beneficial for them to live in harmony with the cats. So we help them build higher fences. We collar as many cats as we possibly can so we can monitor their comings and goings. And Africat works so closely with the community that every penny that you spend with them, a portion of it goes into the local community, so that the farmers can also see a benefit of living in harmony with the cats. So here you can explore all about, and they will tell you much better about it. So you will go there into an information center where they tell you all about their work. You can see here on the map how this is all located here, right in between the national park and the capital city of Windhoek. So this is the Otjiwarongo area where you will have Okonjima and also Otjiwa, which is another private game reserve, basically just across the road from Okonjima. So here we have a wonderful lodge. It is a little bit more affordable than Okonjima, but they are best known for their huge population of rhino. So if you stay in Ottawa, you're very likely to encounter some rhino with them. What you can also do when you stay in Ottawa is that you can actually go over to Okonjima and visit them as a day visitor and explore Africat Foundation with them. So here, I just want to summarize. On the map, as you've noticed, I'm a sucker of maps. I love to see where in the country we're located. And here you can see the capital city. I've taken you down south to the highest sand dunes of Sossusvlei. We have the coastal town of Swakopmund, adventurous paradise. We have Damaraland with the desert elephant. We have the huge national park over here. And then we have Otjovaronko area with the rhino and the cats and back down to Windhoek. Now, there is more to Namibia. The problem is that I could talk, if you haven't noticed, I could talk for hours and hours and hours about Namibia, and we don't have that kind of time. So just to quickly demonstrate that we have the Namibia Caprivi Strip as well. The Caprivi Strip connects Namibia with, for example, the Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe. Here we have a huge number of national parks and lots of wildlife there as well. And right here, all the way down south, close to the South African border, Namibia is home to Fish River Canyon, which is the world's second largest canyon. It is actually the second largest canyon right after the Grand Canyon. So in 2 weeks' time, when I'm heading down there, I'm actually going hiking the Fish River Canyon, a breathtaking place. So there's, like I said, there's more to Namibia, but this circle route takes roughly 2 weeks to explore. And in our opinion, and what we have obviously witnessed with the feedback of our guests, is that this is the absolute best route that you can take up around Namibia to get the absolute best of the country. And I think, and I hope I have demonstrated a little bit what Namibia has to offer as a very unique and an amazing country. I think I'll just open up for questions now. What do you think, Melissa?
Oops. Oh, that was brilliant. Thank you, Rannveig. That was really good, very inspiring. And I know that you can talk for ages about it because there is so much to talk about it. It's such a big country, and I think showing that on the scale that just Etosha is the size of Holland, and so really, yeah, it's just immense. And I think doing that circle route, if you've got 2 weeks, that's the perfect kind of highlight trip for it, really. So no, it's fantastic. And I had a couple of questions along the way that were sent. One of them actually was, what would you do in 2 weeks? So that was that, which then, so in that case, if you were to add on Fish River Canyon or even Victoria Falls, like how much time would you expect to have to add on comfortably to have them in as well?
At least a week for either. So Fish River Canyon is very far south. It is by the border of South Africa, which is tremendously far. You cannot, for example, drive from the capital to Fish River Canyon in a day. It's impossible. You have to overnight along the way. So you need at least an extra week. So for example, in 3 weeks, you could cover that circle I told you about and add the Fish River Canyon. When it comes to Victoria Falls, what you would then do, for example, is from Windhoek, go to Sossusvlei, then do the circle like I told you. But when you finish with Etosha National Park, you wouldn't head back south. You would rather just drive the Namibia Caprivi Strip, ending in Victoria Falls and flying out from there. So into Windhoek, out Vic Falls. And again, you need an extra week for that, because you will have to overnight on the Caprivi Strip along the way to reach Zimbabwe.
Yeah. Okay, great. So yeah, there's so many options really, aren't there, for different options.
And of course we tailor make, based on different wishes, and of course.
No, it's fantastic. And your passion entirely comes through. I absolutely love it. It's brilliant. So thank you. And yeah, it's such a stunning country.
It is.
One of the other questions was in relation to the relationship between wildlife and humans. Is there a problem with poaching at all?
Yes, there is. Yeah. Sadly, we have problems there, just like they have in South Africa and other African places. And interestingly, the elephant became a bit less popular, thankfully, for a period of time, and the rhino kind of took over. So both our black and white rhino have been in danger for many years now. We are very vigilant on monitoring this. We offer very high rewards if you notice anything dodgy happening, and if the perpetrators get caught, then we offer high rewards for that. We have very impressive, actually, like we have these tiny little aircraft that we continuously fly over the areas where the rhinos live to monitor and watch out for poachers. And we have even sometimes, sadly, had to take drastic measures and put a rhino to sleep and cut off the horn. Because then when it wakes up again, it's safe because it doesn't have a horn, which is the whole point of poaching it. So in Namibia, you would also witness some rhinos without the horn. Vigilant with that.
It's so sad, isn't it? And it's horrible. And I know it's not a nice topic, but it is sadly a reality, isn't it? So thank you for explaining that. Yeah.
And we all wildlife, actually, we feel that, you know, with wildlife and human conflict, for us in Namibia, it's all about education. So we also spend a lot of efforts into education. And we feel that if we can educate already the youngsters into living differently in harmony with the animals, that helps for the future. And it's all very, very impressive and wonderful to witness down there in Namibia.
Yeah, I bet. And do you, as a company, does Obeo work like with locals as well? To help educate?
Absolutely. It is very important to us. And we decide our projects ourselves. To be honest, we, much like poaching, I'm a bit ashamed and embarrassed that we have to say this, but there is what do you call it? You know, bribery and what's the English word? Corruption. So basically, we at Obeo, we don't trust all charity companies, because we actually believe that our, money could go into wrong pockets. So we choose all of our projects ourselves, and we physically deliver goods, money, food, school equipment to places, to little villages that we believe need it the most at each time. We are now, our latest project is in Damaraland. I love Damaraland. And there's a tiny village there called Deriet. Were South African refugees from apartheid time. They were given a bit of land in Namibia. And when it was safe for them to go back home, they said, no, thank you. Namibia is our home now. So the village still lives there in the heart of Damaraland. And bless them, they try to be self-sufficient, but it's very difficult because each time they grow any fruits or vegetables, the desert elephant comes. And just eats it right up. So they keep trying to be self-sufficient, but they can't. And what we want to do is, instead of continuously just giving them money or food, we want to help them to be self-sufficient. So our latest project now, well, we lit up the whole town for them. We've already done that. And now we want to build this whole huge community center, sort of, with very high walls. And inside there, we're going to help them plant, so that they can grow some food safely away from the deer elephants.
Yeah. Oh, that's really unfortunate. But yeah. Oh, that's great that you really research what it is that you're supporting, and trying not to let the money get into the wrong hands or anything like that. So
yeah,
that's brilliant. But some of the names of the places, are any of them related to Welsh names at all, or not? Apparently one looked
not that I know of.
On the
Why
Skeleton
does
Coast.
Tweeterfontein come to mind? That one could sound a bit Welsh, couldn't it?
I'm not too sure which one it was that they're referring to, but one after Swakopmund, but
Tweeterfontein, probably, yeah.
Do you need a visa for Botswana?
Oh, I'm not sure. We actually don't operate Botswana. I believe, but don't quote me on this, I believe you don't need it. I do think that you get a free visa on spot. I think, but I'm sorry, I can't be sure.
No,
we
that's
don't.
all right. I don't know off the top of my head, but I'll tell you what, I can have a
I know
look.
that you come for Zimbabwe, for Vic Falls, and this we would recommend to do well in advance, or you will be standing at the border for hours if you want to do it on spot for Vic Falls. Oh yeah, to get to Victoria Falls. Yeah, so I answered. Yeah, we can assist you with doing that all in advance. And basically, what we prefer to do is to leave the vehicle on Namibia side, and then we have partners because we can actually operate Vic Falls as well. So we have partners in Vic Falls at the lodges. We ask them to pick you up on the Namibian side because they always get through within minutes. So then we can make it all work very smooth. And all you would need is to have the cash in US dollars ready with you to pay for Visa on spot. So that's how we operate that.
Great, thank you.
So it costs $80, remember.
And actually, just in answer to the Botswana one, anyway, you don't need a visa. British nationals don't need a visa for up to 90 days in Botswana. But yeah, that's great.
That's somewhere, yeah.
Yeah,
good.
Brilliant. Nice. Okay, I think, yeah, I don't have any other questions, I don't think, that have come through. But I mean, I've absolutely loved the presentation this evening because I'm lucky enough that I have been to Namibia as well. And yeah, I was definitely one of the ones that was running, giggling down the sand dunes, and was, yeah, I loved exploring Etosha as well, which was fabulous. And actually did go up to Victoria Falls as well. It was a good few years ago, but it was, yeah, absolutely incredible trip. And
what the feedback that we get so much as well, and that's what I love. Sometimes I think that it's just my own, nostalgia from growing up there and my own passion. But then apparently I'm proven wrong, that it's not just me, because I'm tour leader there as well. And I always just see the smiling faces of my clients. And then the variety in that one country is just so dramatic. So many people have also said to me when saying goodbye, just like, gosh, I feel like I've just been to 4 countries. Because you have that desert, you have the coastal town, you have different safari experiences with the desert elephants and the cats, and yeah, it's amazing.
Absolutely, it yeah, just has so much. So yeah, fantastic. So if anyone wants to know any more about Namibia, or has any questions, or has any feedback for us, then just get in touch with me. That would be fantastic. And yeah, we will do our best to answer your questions, and obviously make sure that Namibia is on your bucket list for the future. And once again, if there are any other destinations that you want us to have a look at presenting, then please do just drop me a line. That would be fab. And yeah, so just a quick reminder then before we say goodbye, but for next week, we have Manisha from Belmont, so Luxury with Belmont for next week. And the week after, very exciting, we're going all the way across to Japan. And the week after that, we're going all the way back and further across. We're going a bit wild in Patagonia. So a couple of really exciting weeks coming up. So I hope everyone can join us then. And thank you so much, Rannveig, once again. And I wish you had more destinations so you could come and join us. But no, we'll have you back anyway sometime, because I think everyone would just love to hear more about Iceland and Namibia, I'm sure.
Yeah, we have an active erupting volcano here right now in Iceland, so a lot of stuff happening over here as well.
Yeah. But no, thank you once again, and thank you to everyone for joining, and we'll see you next week.